everybody. This is Gitte Winter here from Denmark. I am the founder of Room for Reflection, and I am the author of the Children's Meditations in My Heart. I am sending live today to talk to you about when a child misses someone and how painful it is when children miss someone they love. Maybe you know a child who misses you. Maybe you have a child who misses you every day when he goes or she goes to school or daycare. Maybe you remember the feeling of missing your parents when you were little. Take a moment to try to remember how it feels. To me, the impressions of missing a parent or a loved one when I was a child, these images and the feelings are still very vivid in my body. Maybe it is the same for you. So today I'm sending live from Denmark to talk to you about what we can do when children are missing us or another parent, and how we can help them when they miss, because the feeling of missing someone you love can be very overwhelming. One of the best ways to illustrate how overwhelming these feelings can be is actually something we see very often on Facebook. When we see these little videos, home videos, recorded of a soldier returning from abroad, or from duty abroad, having been away from a child for a long time, and we see these home videos of this soldier surprising his kid at school or at sports or wherever. And these videos always really get to me and touch me because you can, when the child sees his father or his mother after a long time, you see the way they have been missing their parents so much by the way they greet the parent, and it always really touches me, because you can really see how painful it has been to be away from someone they love. So if you know this feeling, or your child is really having a hard time with missing someone you or someone he or she loves, you're very welcome to engage and let me know where you're watching from, and let me know your thoughts on missing. It can be you missing a parent when you were a little, or it can be a child that you know of who misses a lot and how it affects this child's life. I would love to get to know you a lot better. That's part of why I'm shooting these live videos and going live in English, which is a bit of a challenge for me. Anyways, I want to talk to you about the feeling of missing first, and then I want to tell you the method I have found to help myself and children overcome the overwhelming feeling of missing somebody you love. So let me know who's out there, and let me know where you're from, and I would love to hear from you while I do this live sending. When I was 7 years old, I was at a weeks-long scouts camp in southern Denmark, and we were in tents, in camps. It's a huge camp, a scouts camp with 20,000 scouts, and I was only 7 years old. And I remember standing, it had been pouring down with rain, and I remember having shorts on and bare legs in my rain boots, and I remember having mud all over me. And I also remember that I had to pee a little bit while I was standing in this line, but I was really eager to talk to my parents, and it was way before the cell phones, so I was standing in line to one of these, what do you call that, a coin telephone, like you pay by the coin, like old school 70s, 80s stuff. And as soon, maybe I'd been standing in this line for 20 or 30 minutes, it felt like forever being a 7-year-old. And as soon as my mother picked up the phone, I remember just crying, crying, crying. She didn't even have to say anything. It was just hearing her voice that made me feel so homesick. And I really missed my mom and dad so much. And that feeling of that 7-year-old girl is still very much alive inside of me. And it drives me to write my books, and it drives me to do a live sending like this, because I really want to help children who know the feeling of missing. And for some children, it's quite overwhelming. I have I have become an unwilling expert in missing and homesickness because I have chosen to live in 7 different countries. So when I was 15, my parents moved to Berkeley outside San Francisco, and I went to Berkeley High. Um, when I was a little older, I moved to Switzerland. I've lived in France. I studied in New Zealand. I studied in Australia. I had my first daughter. We had, together with my husband, we moved to Croatia, and I had my first daughter in Croatia and moved on to Canada, had our second daughter in Canada. So I have lived in 7 different countries from the age of 15 to the age of 33. So it was almost every third year I moved abroad to a new country. And I did this because I love traveling. And I have never regretted any of these long-term stays abroad. And I would love to go again. So all that I'm saying today is not full of regret of having traveled. On the opposite, I have loved every stay abroad, and I have learned so much from these stay abroad. But I have also really missed my family, and I've had to say goodbye so many times. I have like almost a feeling every time I go to the airport and I see somebody who has to say goodbye, because I totally feel in my heart how that feels. When I was 15, my parents took me and my sister, and we moved to San Francisco, Berkeley outside San Francisco. And I remember the day I had to say goodbye to my best friend, Catherine in English. We were together every day. She lived across my house. We spent most of our summer vacations, holidays together, and she was just like my right arm. And I had to move abroad to go to a new school, new people. Being 15, I actually had a hard time focusing on being present in Berkeley. Most of my thoughts went back to Denmark. Everybody had begun in high school, and I was curious to know about the boys and everything that was going on back home. So I sort of focused on that instead of just living the moment. I wasn't all that into mindfulness and meditation at that time. I wish I had been, because it would have changed. It was before the email. It was before Skype. So we couldn't communicate over the internet. So what we did was to record tapes, these old school tapes. So I would record one side and I would send it over the Atlantic, and she would respond and tell me all her details of her new life at the new school. And it was Christmas every time one of these letters would come with a tape, so I could hear like 30 minutes or maybe even more of what was going on back home. It was so expensive to call back then. So I know about missing, and I remember how much I felt that I was missing out, even though we were the ones living abroad and I was having all these wonderful experiences with my family. Being a little older, I felt when I was in my 20s and traveling a lot, I didn't miss in the same way, but it came back when I had my children abroad. So I was on maternity leave for 4 years, and my husband had some contracts abroad. And at the end of these 4 years, I really missed my family so much. My sister had also had children. Our friends had children. Some of my girlfriends were pregnant, and I really missed having our grandparents around our kids. I missed the connection, and as I started feeling more and more homesick, it was like there was a big hole in my heart that just got more and more open, and it really hurt. so at the end, I didn't want to go on another expatriation. I wanted to go home to start a living in Denmark. And the thing that really struck me was that it didn't take very long to heal this hole, because what I found out was that the love to my family and to my parents and to my sister had been there all along. It was just actually seeing them and knowing that I could see them that made the difference. So I started reflecting a lot about, could I have done this a little different? Could we have had, me and my husband and our two little girls, could we have had another expatriation, and could I have healed the way I was missing my family in a way abroad that would have made us able to continue the adventure? Because even though I was home, happy being home, I was also missing the adventure of being abroad, and I still long to go again. So I've been reflecting a lot about this. And to symbolize to you how this feels for children when they miss somebody, I have some comments here from the Danish blog. I've been writing about children and missing in Danish. This is the first I do on this topic in English, so I haven't written anything about it. So I'm going to share a little bit about what our Danish mothers are experiencing. So now I'm reading a part that a mother has sent me about how her son misses someone. So she writes to me, "The feeling of missing someone you love is difficult. I'm a mother of a 5-year-old son who has missed a parent every day of his life. When he comes home, when he is home with me, he misses his father, and when he's on weekend at his dad's, he misses me. He often misses his grandmother, his grandfather, his godmother, and his little cousin. He even misses when we live together as a mother and father and a child, even though we never have. His longing is enormous, and in times it takes all his energy. When something is difficult, he misses. That's his default setting." So we've talked a lot about what missing is, and that to miss someone can be good. Missing means that you love someone and look forward to seeing them again, and love is always good. So imagine this little boy walking around, and every time something is difficult, his default setting is missing. So what I was taught from all my years abroad and becoming an unwilling expert in homesickness and missing my family was that you cannot miss if you don't love. And the more you love, the more you can miss. So in order to miss somebody, there has to be love. And that's like the first step of this methodology to actually turn this around. So to talk to your children about that if they miss somebody, it is actually because they love somebody. And then this methodology that I have learned is that we need to make the love, the feeling and the energy of loving bigger than the feeling and the energy of missing somebody you love. And we can actually train this with our children. And that's part of why I've written this book, The Children's Meditations in My Heart. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how you can actually do this with your children. Inside the book you have 4 meditations. In the first one, we teach our children to fill their hearts with love. So that's actually just increasing the heart energy inside the child, which is lovely in many occasions. So it doesn't only have to do with missing somebody. It can be just a hard day. Then it's always good to end the day with filling your heart with love. So what we do here is train the ability to actually fill the child's heart with love. And this is love from the child to the child. So I talk a lot about self-love. And I think it's so important to teach this to our children. Children today are growing up in a digital age with so many impressions And if they don't pay attention, they can have Facebook or YouTube or whatever they're watching dictate how to live their lives. If they don't get to know their inner resources, and especially the power of their hearts, the whole world can spin around them and spin with them. So in my opinion, it's so important that we teach this to our children, to give them the knowledge of the inner resources so that they can navigate within this very quickly spinning world and all the impressions that they get. And I get a lot of love from you now, and I see you agree, so that's wonderful. So in the first one, we teach the children to fill their hearts with love from themselves to themselves. And that actually just increases the feeling of love. In the next one, in the second one, we get to talk a lot more about the love in the family between the parent and the child. We talk about how we send love to each other. We practice that in the meditation. We feel how it feels, and we start communicating more about love with our children. And that also increases the feeling of love and the energy of love inside the child, just talking about it. So what I think, like, our parent generation hear a lot of stuff about how we parent. I don't believe, and I really don't believe, I don't believe that we love our children any less than generations before us. The love from a parent to a child is as strong as it has ever been. And I don't believe that our children are any more fragile when they are born than we were when we were born, or our parents were when they were born. This is very important for me. The difference today with the way we live and the societies we've built is that we spend less time with our children, and we are more busy when we are together with our children. So when they come home after a long day and they have long hours at school and they have many activities and we have busy schedules, all of us, there is so much we have to do within little time before they go to bed. Practical stuff, getting dinner ready, getting lunch ready for tomorrow, doing the dishes, you name it. So many things we have to do. And that means that there is less time to communicate the love. So what I'm asking is to just take 10 minutes with this meditation. Even though you're busy, tune into your heart energy, and the book teaches you how and helps you to do this. And talk to your child about how much you love your child. I know you know how much you love your child, but when we want the children to overcome missing somebody, we cannot talk to them enough about how much we love them. So we actually turn up the love energy by talking to them about how much we love them as well. And the children love this. So there is no child who doesn't like falling asleep listening to how much he is or she is loved. In the third meditation, we teach them that they always have this little love cloud hanging over their heads, and that they can drag it down like a balloon, and they can get a hug from somebody they miss. So in this cloud, every loving thought we have of our child while we are apart ends up in this love cloud. Every child has a love cloud. Some don't know it yet, but I hope they soon will. And we've also had these little keychains produced in Nepal at a charity project, because child psychologists have told us, after reading the book and recommending the book, that it's very good for the child to have a symbol of how we connect in love. And what they do is actually that they take this little keychain with them to school or at kindergarten, and when they miss, they squeeze the little cloud, and then they sort of get a feeling that they get connected via the meditation and what we've been practicing to the parent. So this little cloud has become very valuable for a lot of kids, especially, you know, when you miss somebody every day, many hours a day, it can turn into a type of anxiety. And we really don't want to go there. So many children with separation anxiety also get a lot of help from this little, very simple keychain, because it is followed by meditations with the parents that talk about all the love that the child has inside and all the love there is between the parent and the child. So even though we love our children just as much today as any generation has ever done, it's even more important that we communicate about this love to the child. And I take it even a step further in the fourth meditation, because I really would love the next generation to know that they can meet the world from an open heart. So this fourth generation with the universe, I share my love. They learn to, they are taught to send their love into the universe to children who are not fortunate to live in a family like ours, and they can actually share their love that they are so fortunate to have with this child, so they can, from child to child, even children they don't know, they can also send love. So what I'm suggesting here is actually what another mother has done, and she has been writing to me, and I'm going to read what she wrote. So they have actually been practicing this because they live in she's divorced from her children's father, and he is taking the kids on a 3-week summer vacation. So she's preparing the children. She's actually practicing with them to focus on love rather than the feeling of missing, and that's exactly why I'm sending live today to teach you about this. So let's hear what she says. We have been in the process of meditating with your book at home so we can prepare for 3 weeks of summer vacation apart. I intend to record them as audio files so that the children can have them when they are with their father. I know that it's best to read them aloud yourself, but I hope it also works when we are apart. Thank you so much for your meditations. So I love this. I love that the mother is already now preparing the children to be away from her, and she's recording the meditations for the children to take with them so that they can keep practicing while they are apart. And when we do this, and when we are, if you are divorced from your children's other parent, it's so important that you become conscious of what's going on when the child is missing you and you are missing your child. So there is some soothing in knowing that your child misses you as much as you miss your child. But you are not helping your child by turning up the feeling of missing. You're not helping your child by telling your child how much you miss your child, and in some sense expect your child to be missing you. I know that it can be comforting in some ways, but you're not helping your child. Instead, you need to focus on how much you love each other and how big your love is, even though you are apart. I had another email from a mother who, it's a Danish family, and they have moved to New Zealand, and there is a son who's 5 years old, and he misses his grandmother so much. He used to be together with his grandmother every day, and now they are apart, and it's really tricky for this boy. So I sent the book to New Zealand, and they trained the 3 meditations. And especially the second meditation has helped this boy, because what he got out of the meditation is an understanding that his love for his grandmother is not stuck with him because she is so far away, and her love can actually reach him. So what I think is so wonderful about children is that the way they love is so mutual. So it's just as important for children to give love as receiving love. So when he's down there in New Zealand and he cannot hug his grandmother, he cannot get the love out of his system. He cannot share his love, and he loves to share his love with his grandmother. And he usually did it when he got a hug or when they were together. So now that he's so far away from her, he doesn't know how to share the love with his grandmother. And what we can do is actually build a bridge of love between 2 people who are apart, who love each other and miss each other and cannot be together. So he can walk on the bridge to go to his grandmother to get a hug from her and love from her, and he can also go and share his love with his grandmother. So we're actually building sort of a love bridge between two people who miss each other. Um, and what happened was that as soon as he he was taught about these meditations, as soon as he got to understand more about all the love he had inside and how he could send it over distance to his grandmother, he was so relieved. Isn't it beautiful? So he was so relieved that his grandmother could now actually get the love from him, and that he could get love from his grandmother. He was taught ways through this book to actually communicate his love on distance, over distance, with his grandmother. And what happened was that he all of a sudden had a much easier time integrating. So at his school and with his friends and at this new city he was at a lighter space. His vibration was different, and he had a much easier time being abroad. So this is he's halfway around the world from his grandmother. But it happens every day. It happens all the time, and children miss somebody all the time, and we need to teach them tools to handle when they miss somebody they love. So let's see what you guys are writing. Kadri, hi, beautiful soul. How are you? You have such a big heart. Let's see what you're writing. My 12-year-old daughter says that she doesn't know how to miss. I know this is opposite, but would love to hear your thought when it fits in. Okay, I need you to tell me a little bit more, Kadri, of why she doesn't know how to miss. Because knowing you, I know she knows what love is all about. So that's not the way it is. Can you write a little bit more? Is it that she doesn't want to miss? She doesn't want to go there? She doesn't like the feeling of it? Or is it that she cannot handle when she misses? I need a little bit more from you to answer. Just see if you can write some more. Louise, hello from Ireland. You love the idea. Perfect. Yeah. So I find this is so important. I find that we need to turn up the love. And I know that the love is there. And I know that you all love your children. What I really want to do is to help the children get to know the inner resources, know the power of the heart, and know how to express love in many different ways. So that's what this is all about. And knowing, being an unwilling expert in homesickness and missing my family, I know how much it hurts. I have some pictures in my head and some feelings stuck in my body. I remember when I was just about to give birth to my second daughter, and I was 32, 33. My father had been visiting me from Denmark, and we were in Quebec City, and he was going through security. And he was there in Croatia when I had my first daughter, and it was actually by accident because she came 2 weeks early, and I was so blessed that he was there when she arrived. And this little girl inside of me wanted him to be there when my second daughter was about to be born as well. The security of having him around in Croatia was really strong for me. So as he walked through security at the airport in Quebec City, I was just crying my eyes out. The feeling that he would miss my daughter's birth, and of course I had chosen to live far away, so I knew it was all on my shoulders. But I just really wanted him to be there. And the little girl inside of me was just crying, crying, crying. And my 2-year-old was with me, and she was wiping my tears and saying, "Mommy is crying." And I said, "Yes, but that's just because I love my father, your grandfather, so much." I remember all sorts of times when I had to say goodbye. And if I could go back and if I could heal some of my wounds, I would. So that's why I'm sharing the children's meditations in my heart. And that's why I'm teaching parents to teach their children to fill their hearts with love, 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 and talk more about love and let them know how much love they have inside them and how much they can do with the power of their hearts. So, Kadri, I don't see you writing anything more. You're very welcome to write to me at info@roomperfection.com, and I will make sure to get back to you. So, thank you for watching today. I hope you can help somebody who misses someone, and you are very welcome to, when you see this after I've sent live, to write to me if you have questions. You're very welcome to keep commenting on the video, and I'll do my best to answer. So I'm wishing you here from Denmark a lovely day. Thank you for watching, and thank you for watching the replay. Have a good day.